Be increased from current 60 years as the pensions regulator pins implementation on government and parliament.
60 years is predetermined by the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and it's an entrenched clause, for example. So it would not be part of our regulatory responsibility to amend or even talk about.
And economist Professor Charles Akyem urges Ghana Revenue Authority to set higher targets to rake in more revenue for the state.
You can buy property in East Legon for $200,000, 1 million Ghana cedis. And if people are not asked to pay property rate, then you set a target of 167 million. When you are supposed to raise, you could raise as much as 12 billion from property taxes alone, from Accra alone.
Plus, the National Petroleum Authority assures of adequate infrastructure to roll out the first of cylinder recirculation model, which started today.
It will run side by side. So we believe we have some infrastructure to start with the rollout. And as we go on, we will gradually roll out as the infrastructure becomes more visible in most of our communities. We've given ourselves a transition period of 3 years.
This is Business Live with me, Beverly Bromo. After this, please stay. Thanks for choosing us. We go straight into our stories now. And economist and associate professor at the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, Professor Charles Akyem, has blamed revenue mobilization agencies for setting low targets. This, he said, is a major cause of Ghana's low gross domestic product to tax ratio. According to him, Ghana can raise up to 12 billion cedis every year from property tax in the Greater Accra region alone. He's been speaking at the Joy Business Tax Forum, themed Ghana's high tax regime, the causes and finding remedies.
There are those who think maybe we're not setting an ambitious target.
Yes, that's the issue. So
you think our targets are not ambitious enough?
Somebody setting his questions and marking himself. That's basically. So the Minister of Finance gets estimate from the Ghana Revenue Authority, and the Ghana Revenue says that this is how much we want to achieve. And you need to ask. So look at the budget 2023 and see how much they want to raise from property taxes. Okay, less than 200 million Ghana cedi. See how much they want to raise from self-employment. So that's already quite too low. And of course, that will be achieved. What we need to do now probably is for Parliament to begin to set the target for the Ghana Revenue Authority and to have people to be employed who will achieve the target. If they don't achieve that target, maybe they face some consequences or some penalties. If we don't do that, we employ people. And the same thing happens at the Assembly. We have MMDAs, district chief executives. They're supposed to raise revenue from property taxes, from rates.
They're looking at raising some 165 million
from
property taxes.
Yeah, but if you do an analysis, and I did some analysis, if you do property taxes, for example, my own analysis I did 167 million.
Yes.
Okay. Just according to the Ghana
165 million.
Million.
Yes.
Okay. So look at that. According to the Ghana population census, there are about 8.5 million plus completed residential structures in Ghana. 1.7 million of those structures are in Greater Accra. So Accra alone has about 1.7 million structures. Now, if you do the analysis, what the government is saying is that even if you decide that all this 167 million is going to be raised from Accra alone, forget about Kumasi, Tarkwa, and the rest of the economy, divide the 167 million by the structures in Accra, you get each property is going to pay just about 97 Ghana cedi a year. So which means that this is quite low. Just Accra alone, if you decided to raise just about 0.25% on the properties in Accra, you will be raising about 11 billion Ghana cedi by my analysis. Just even focus on East Legon Airport Residential, wetlands, and here. And look at all the real estate. When I was coming, people were advertising real estate. They are quoting them in dollars. Okay, so you can buy a property in East Legon for $200,000, 1 million Ghana cedis. And if people are not asked to pay property rate, then you set a target of 167 million. When you are supposed to raise, you could raise as much as 12 billion from property taxes alone, from Accra alone.
Now, the retirement age of 60 years could soon be reviewed. That's if government and parliament should give their final blessings to this approval. The move is part of measures to deal with the current pressure on the pension funds. Hayford Atakofi is Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority.
Some issues are regulatory and some are statutory, of course. Our mandate is to regulate and monitor the industry. When it comes to age of joining and age of leaving a scheme, those are determined by law. Act 766 talks about joining at 15. We all know that relative people hardly, for example, start work at 15 in our country, maybe 18, maybe 21, and so on and so forth. Those things, because they are determined by law, that's how it should be. The 60 years is predetermined by the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, you know, and it's an entrenched clause, for example. So it would not be part of our regulatory responsibility to amend or even talk about it. But I always believe that as the three-tier pension system was a result of public conversation and agitation, so we can have a conversation about the retirement age. And if that would mean that the Constitution will need to be looked at, then naturally it will be, you know, it can be looked.
Still on the authority, as it says, it supports proposals for workers' contribution to the SNIT scheme to be increased. It follows concerns about the sustainability of the scheme if drastic measures are not taken to review contributions. Speaking again on the PM Express Business Edition, the Chief Executive of the NPRA, Hayford Atakofi, said it is time to engage various stakeholders on the issue.
Sustainability is very important because that is what, you know, keeps systems running. You know, whilst you are in a particular situation, you look ahead, and that's what pension is all about sustainability. Yes, and then our three-tier system was born out of agitation. You know, we all know the story between 1972 and 1991 and 2004 when comparisons were made between CAP 30 and then the SNIT scheme, and then the unions started and government responded. So national conversation is always very good. If we think that the three-tier system and the percentages of contribution, the 5 and then the 13.5 is too small and we need to up it up, yes, it can begin. As regulators, we're not against that kind of national conversation at all. The issue about CAP 30, whether it should continue or it shouldn't, and all those things. I mean, these things have come as a result of national discussion. So yes, if the will for changes, and I do know, for example, that the actuarial valuation, the last one that SNIT did, there was a recommendation that contributions need to be upped a little bit. Yeah. So all these are discussions that we're not opposed to at all. If you look at our 5-year development plan for the pensions industry, one key area is the sustainability of the basic national social security scheme, of course. And so for us as regulators, even the 3-year interval that the actuarial valuation is done, we think is too long. We think that every year. So the SNIT will have to let us know what is going on and what we need to do. So one of the things, for example, that we are working with SNIT to ensure sustainability is to look at their investment guidelines, for example, so that we can restructure investment. Because when we talk about sustainability of the scheme, it is how the scheme funds are being invested and how it is turning out, and to ensure that they will be able to pay benefit. So it's one of those things that we as regulators are working with them on.
Moving on, the cylinder recirculation model is finally taking off today after previous postponement due to industry concerns. The initiative seeks to centralize the distribution and sale of LPG in the country for domestic consumption. It would allow consumers to exchange empty cylinders for a filled one at a specific location. Speaking earlier on the marketplace, head of gas in charge of commercial regulation at the National Petroleum Authority, Obed Crane Boache, said adequate infrastructure is in place to roll out the first phase of the CRM.
The recirculation model came about when Cabinet approved the National LPG Promotion Policy somewhere in the year 2017. Now, the goal of that policy was to increase access to LPG from 24% then to 30% by the year 2030. And that goal, we think, is very much relevant today. And so when Cabinet was opposing the policy, they gave express directives to the National Petroleum Authority to implement the cylinder recirculation model as the model for distribution of LPG for domestic use. The idea is the cylinder recirculation model allows us to bring LPG to consumers in a less costly and safe manner. In terms of structure, yes, one of the key structures required is the bottling plant. In fact, we did a pilot for the CRM somewhere in the year 2001, and we used the refilling station to mimic the role of the bottling plant. But now we have the bottling plant in place. These are key. Also, when it comes to the cylinder exchange points, yes, we have some cylinder exchange points already that are ready to roll out. We are also engaging the LPG marketing companies to begin to transition some of their exchange points, their refilling stations into exchange points, also participate in the program. And we have vehicles. We have actors who are already having vehicles doing some bit of recirculation already. And so we have the transporters whom we have engaged, and they have ready some vehicles in the area of transportation already. And so, as I indicated, the idea is to run side by side. So we believe we have some infrastructure to start with the rollout. And as we go on, we gradually roll out as the infrastructure becomes more visible in most of our communities. We've given ourselves a transition period of 3 years, which is subject to review. As with most policies, you review the policy as you implement. And so we will continue to engage our stakeholders even as we implement the CRM. And then after 3 years, we'll see where we are and whatever actions we need to take going forward.
You're still watching Business Live here on the Joy News channel with me, Beverly Broom. We take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, members of the Ghana Society of Radiographers have been urged to develop strategies to harmonize all implementation efforts to help effectively and efficiently carry out their work. The call was made by the president of the Ghana Society of Radiographers, Dennis Samate Ahia, during their annual general meeting held at the Holy Trinity Spa and Health Farm at Sugakopa in the South Tong district.
Samate Ahia noted that there is a need for collaboration between clinical practitioners and academia to ensure that the future of the radiography workforce is well prepared for advancements in the clinical environment.
The Ghana Society of Radiographers will encourage its members to develop strategies to harmonize all implementation efforts. There is need for collaboration between the clinical practitioners and the academia to ensure the future of radiography workforce is well prepared for these advancements in our clinical environment.
He noted that lack of regulatory and legal policy frameworks, limited resources availability, including unreliable internet connectivity and low expert skill sets, present even more challenges.
Human resource costs, training, and infrastructure are the basic challenges as we advance in technology, especially in this part of our world. Lack of regulatory and legal framework, limited resources available, including unreliable internet connectivity, and low skill set presents more challenges. Prof. Chair, The Ghana Society of Radiographers called on the government, specifically the Ministry of Health, to draw and implement the National Medical Device Policy, which will address the availability of such expensive equipment, planning for periodic maintenance and repairs, procurement, manufacturing, financing, allocating human resource, training and development, and other medical device information.
Chairman for the occasion, former Dean of the School of Allied Health Sciences, UHAS, Professor Eric Oferi, in his remarks urged the members to seize opportunities available currently to improve on their work and develop themselves to become better radiographers.
You need to develop yourself. It's all about, if you don't develop yourself, technology will leave you behind. From this conference, if we can make good use of AI, artificial intelligence, so we are challenging all of you to capitalize on the opportunities that are available and spend small money to develop yourself.
Head of Department of the School of Biomedical and Allied Health Sciences, Dr. Kofiche Adesi, in his keynote address stated that radiographers play a crucial role in the healthcare sector.
We are looking at prospect. It means you, the practitioner, should be at the level that you can use AI. If you go to the Western world where AI is all over, it is because of the advances that they have made. That means that if you are here as a radiographer, you have to make sure that you also advance in your medical practice.
The special guest of honor, Dr. Ali Kwesi Atipi, who is also the registrar of the College of Medicine and Allied Sciences, said that technology provides enormous support in terms of improving patient care and helps reducing patients' waiting time.
Technology has enormous potential for improving patient care. It really reduces patient waiting time. It really aligns primary, secondary, and tertiary services. And then we have the virtual patient care delivery.
Ivy Satoji, Joy News, Sogakope.
Now, the Institute of Project Management Professionals Ghana has raised concerns over the persistent issue of unfinished projects in the country. According to the Institute, many unfinished projects not only result in a significant waste of resources, but also disrupt the lives of citizens who rely on the timely completion of these initiatives for improved living conditions and economic opportunities. The Institute stated this at the first International Project Management Bootcamp in Cape Coast.
The Institute says it has noted with growing alarm the increasing number of projects initiated by both public and private entities that have remained incomplete. These unfinished endeavors encompass a wide range of sectors, from infrastructure to education, health and agriculture. Council member of the Institute and Chief Executive Officer of the JAM Group of Companies, Dr. Ebenezer Jamra, emphasize the adverse consequences of this trend on the nation.
We say project management, how you can do things at the right time, at the right place, complete on time. So project has a beginning and has an end time. How can we start a project in the country and complete at the right time? What is happening? It is about monitoring evaluation, it is about stakeholder approach, because we end up blaming people. Are stakeholders participatory involved? Are we monitoring? Is it any good, effective monitoring evaluation? Sure. How we can plan project, what do you call it, foresight, how we can foresee, how we can draw risk management plan, how we can monitor and evaluate our project. You hear they are saying this stadium costed this one costed this, but what are the ingredients? I want the country to also recognize that the presence of professional project management in Ghana, so that together we can jojo and not be throwing dust into the eyes of many people.
President of the Women's Wing of the Institute, Professor Elsie Ifa-Kaufman, called for more women participation in decision-making and problem-solving in the country.
Why is this important? If you look around, even in our gathering here, you will see. Please count how many women you have around you. You will see that women are severely underrepresented. I also happen to be an engineer, and the situation is probably worse there. And so this is our opportunity to be advocates for women in the profession so that we are also represented in the kinds of activities and the decisions that are made for ourselves, our country, and the world. We need to have the voice of women also represented. It has been shown over and again in our research that when we have inclusive decision-making and problem-solving, that is when we come up with the best solutions to the problems of the world.
Vice Dean of the University of Cape Coast School of Agric, Professor Julius Hagan, reviewed how many agricultural policies fail due to the lack of technical expertise in project management.
With my experience with farmers and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, we've realized that most of the policies related to agriculture fail at a point. Probably because those who are managing those projects do not have the technical expertise as far as project management is concerned.
The Institute has underscored the urgent need for a comprehensive re-evaluation of how projects are planned, managed, and executed in Ghana. They have also called for a concerted effort from government agencies, private sector entities, and project stakeholders to address the issue efficiently.
And that's our package for tonight. You can read more of our stories on myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broom. Enjoy the rest of our program.